Okay, so the drama just doesn't end in the VTuber community, and it seems like there's been another Google Doc dropped, this time about something different to do with Dokibird. Now, if you don't know, Dokibird has been involved in a lot already. I mean, you know, she's been through some tough times with nijisanji and everything like that in the past. If you guys want to go watch videos about that, I think Muujin has one, which I definitely recommend looking into. But essentially, Dokibird just dropped this statement a couple of hours ago, pretty much saying, full statement on the PC charity auction and recent allegations. So this is a 7-page long Google Doc, which we'll go through. And this has blown up. This has blown up massively. It's got 1 million views, 10,000 likes. So again, people are, you know, very much aware of what is going on. And they say, full statement on the charity auction and recent allegations. To everyone following the situation regarding the charity auction, I want to address the claims that have been circulating, particularly in a recent video. Yo, so this is post-editing Kaz here. I just wanted to kind of add this in. The video that Dokibird is actually referring to throughout this document, I'm pretty sure is to do with Cat and Chat, who made a whole video talking about yesterday the mismanagement of Dokibird's PC auction led an artist on for a year. And this has got 2.1 thousand dislikes, or at least on my extension thing. Obviously, the extension's inaccurate, so it could be more, could be less, could be whatever. Again, doesn't really bother me. But yeah, essentially, this is the video that she is talking about, because obviously, they even mentioned in the document that they added in like a rebuttal, but they only added it in the description, didn't delete the video or anything like that, which again, I think is kind of crazy. And yeah, we'll pretty much go through the document and you'll find out even more about what's going on. I'll leave a link down to this video if you want to go watch it, because it has some of the DMs, but I think Dokibird explains most of it in this document. This has been an incredibly difficult experience, but I believe the full story deserves to be heard. First and foremost, I accept that the handling of this auction item was far from ideal. I want to sincerely apologize to those impacted, especially the winner, for the delays and confusion. And I tremendously appreciate the patience and support the winner has shown me. I take responsibility for how things unfolded, but I also need to be transparent about the challenges that were taking place behind the scenes, many of which have not been shared publicly until now. I feel that it is time to share with everyone that I've come to terms with what has occurred in the summer. At the time this auction was concluding, I was in the middle of a serious distressing transition. My previous management team had taken full control of my brand, and I was actively working with lawyers and police to reclaim ownership of Dokibird. During this time, I was also forced to move out of my home under police supervision, a situation so severe it required formal reports and help of personal friends and staff. It was during this incredibly turbulent time that the charity item fell into the hands of my team while I was trying to survive and restart my life from the ground up. I won't go into too much detail, but this is a screenshot and snapshot of how bad it was. Now, yeah, it says, Dokibird, she just left. I only have a small window of time to leave the apartment before she comes back. Are the police coming? Because I won't be home when they do. Exit the apartment, they're almost there. I'm packing up to leave right now. Grab the charger, officers calling you. Let me know if everything's okay. Obviously, kind of showing off how bad the situation was back whenever a lot of this stuff, you know, all kicked off. Now, they're saying, so to be fair, my team and I were under a lot of pressure. We still came out of this and had to immediately start to pick up the pieces of the business. And during this time, there was no attempt from other sides to follow up or reach out after the initial silence. My staff wasn't sure on how to proceed, and I truthfully was overwhelmed and unable to manage the situation while trying to re-establish basic stability in my personal and professional life. They say, hey there, Doki, there's a metric ton of work that's still unfinished and addressed, and as much as I'd like to give you the room to settle it in, to move, this needs to get done, and we can't keep pushing this back any further. Now, the first thing on the agenda, obviously, was the charity auction. Still has multiple items that need addressing. The important being the custom PC, which has still made no progress, and I've received another inquiry as to where the plan for it is. Bottom line is there needs to be a builder arranged, or at least a budget 6.6 thousand USD allocated to either build the thing or reimburse the bidder in full. So yeah, essentially, I think there was a charity auction that went on over at Dokibird's channel whenever all of this stuff, you know, was kicking off, and yeah, it just ended up not really being solved due to the fact of, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, Dokibird had a lot on her chest. Now, they keep on going on to say, eventually I stepped back in personally to handle the PC build. When it became clear it was dragging on too long, I contacted the builder myself and was informed of a prior medical emergency. Still, no follow-up ever came from them afterwards, despite months passing, and had to initiate contact again. As for the auction process itself, the starting bid was always intended to reflect the cost of this item. This was standard across all auction pieces, and many artists we worked with can confirm this. I was confused when the PC build kept increasing in the quoted price from 6k to 8k to 12k and then to 14k, which is a big jump up. You know, it's almost doubled, if not tripled in price, which is crazy. And say with no consistent rationale. I even offered to pay more than the original bid due to the delays, but the shifting figures and eventual threat of daily penalties for missing an arbitrary deadline left me overwhelmed and unsure if I can continue the partnership. The builder provided irrational hours in the time log, asking for obscene amounts and services we never agreed on. Eventually, I was told I'd owe 4k in a cancellation fee, yet I'd not agreed to any finalized scope or cost. There's no contract signed between me, Dokibird, and them directly. Here's one of the quotes that they sent us, and yeah, as you can see here, you can see that's the kind of hardware that they've charged for. GPU 1000, case 600. Again, I think those are pretty normal prices. They even put notes to check it. But then, yeah, as you go into the labor kind of hours and stuff like that, like total labor, $5,000, 4 weeks, 40 hours. I mean, if this is just someone building a PC, that's pretty crazy. You're telling me it took them 40 hours to do this? I mean, I don't know how many PCs, like, as far as I know, it's one PC and they've charged $5,000 or £5,000, sorry, for that. That's pretty crazy, you know? I could build one in like a day, you know? That'd be like 6 working hours, maybe, at the most. That's like very most. But this dude's working 40 hours. I mean, maybe if you include some of the buying of the parts, maybe, but that still doesn't justify that at all. That's pretty crazy. And they say the timesheet claimed they'd accumulated already for 120 hours, which my staff and I found untruthful, especially when I got shown when I didn't get shown any proof of labor. We requested if there's any way to provide us proof, which was then also ignored. So they just ignored that totally. They said like these were the days that they've been working. They worked 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours every single day, which, yeah, for building a PC, I just don't think that is, I don't think that's normal, but okay. Let's say throughout this, I asked for one thing multiple times, a time-lapse video of the PC build that was drafted, which the builder themselves had originally said existed. They told us it existed and asked us if I could see it, but then they just ignored it. I even stated in writing that I would pay the full amount, no question asked. Despite multiple requests by me and my staff via email, it was never delivered. At this point, the builder's behavior was showing bad faith to me, the buyer. And they say, we have requested these items multiple times in various emails and DMs. You stated that you provide them, but we still have yet to receive the items. We said that we are willing to provide compensation if these items were provided, so we do not understand why this has been ignored multiple times. Now, yeah, they've even provided proof of the email there, so they sent emails, DMs, whatever, to this builder, who seems like they're just straight up ripping them off, which, again, is crazy. Now, they say then came 2 incredibly personal accusations that crossed a line for me. That I was pocketing charity money, and that I did this for a tax write-off. These were not only false, but deeply hurtful. All money from the bids went directly to the charity through Tiltify. I paid artists out of pocket, including shipping and production costs, and in some cases even covered the increased their rates themselves. To be accused of this for personal gain was crushing, especially as someone who's consistently tried to share what I've done with others. So yeah, it seems like people have been going ahead and accusing Dokibird of essentially doing this for personal gain, you know, pocketing the money or whatever. And, you know, this is just proof that there was literally just delays with it, because I can understand why some people might be a little bit concerned at the fact that, you know, it's taking quite a while to get these prices, where are they, type thing. But I think, yeah, kind of accusing them of like pocketing the money is just completely wrong. You know, if you want a kind of update on what is going on, then maybe just ask them. I mean, I don't know if they tried to, but again, it is kind of weird just to throw out all of these personal kind of insults towards Doki here. Now they say, due to how emotionally charged the situation became, I chose to step away and let my team manage it more professionally. I was on a rare, long-awaited vacation at the time, while also suffering from severe food poisoning and still trying to resolve the situation behind the scenes. This was well documented on stream and on social media. Anyone who knows me knows I've already taken the time off. This trip was to Japan for my first LAN Apex event, which had been planned for months. Eventually, I worked with the new PC builder using my height case, I upgraded all the parts at my own expense and tried to spend nearly $10,000 to deliver what was promised. Unfortunately, Amazon cancelled my parts order shortly before the winner's travel day, meaning we could no longer deliver the PC in time. At that point, the winner and I mutually agreed I would send them $7,500 to build their own non-themed PC. We considered the matter resolved. So again, it seems like it's been a series of like unfortunate events pretty much for Dokibird here. Essentially, things keep getting cancelled, she gets scammed, you know, things are getting like blown out of way out of proportion, and people think, oh, well, she's just kind of delaying it further because she doesn't want to, you know, pay out on the kind of stuff and that she's pocketing the money, which just isn't true. You know, it just seems like it was just some unfortunate things that have gone on. And, you know, they've explained it pretty well with proof. You can see the parts were ordered here and apparently they were cancelled. They say 2 days later, the video was posted after the payment had already been made and the issue had been settled. The description and pinned comment were edited after the fact to say I had paid the auction winner, but it falsely implied I only did so because of public pressure. That's simply not true. So they're talking about a video kind of going after Dokibird, I guess, for this charity thing. And yeah, essentially they tried to make it seem like she only did it because of pressure. Again, it's just so weird. Obviously, they provided proof of the money being sent as well, $7,500. They said, I didn't screenshot anything from our conversations in the group chat because I'd hoped to resolve this privately without dragging it into the public eye, but in hindsight that was naive. I've always tried to avoid public conflict, but now I'm being forced to defend myself from a one-sided narrative. The pain cuts deeper when I see people claiming I didn't want to pay because it was the most expensive item. That's not true. I've paid for other auction items valued even higher, and this was never about avoiding payment. It was about trying to navigate an increasingly confusing, emotionally fraught and mismanaged situation in the middle of one of my hardest years of my life. For context, I've always tried to treat the artists I work with fairly. Sometimes I pay late because I'm overwhelmed or unwell, as my community knows. I've faced numerous health and personal challenges lately, but I always pay. I've covered late fees, offered bonuses, and donated to artists in need. To now be accused of being manipulative or exploitative after everything I've given financially and emotionally, it's devastating. Which again, yeah, you can see, like, Dokibird even provides proof of the fact that they've been paying for a lot of this stuff out of their own pocket just to get this to happen, you know? They've been paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to get this to happen. So it's not like, you know, they're trying to pocket the money or anything like they're trying to claim here. It's just the fact that, you know, it's just unfortunate things that have happened, and she's trying to fix this with her own money. Now, they're saying, I'm not perfect, I get emotional, I talk from the heart, not always from a business-only place, and yes, I should have kept some personal matters out of these conversations. That's on me, but I'm only one person trying to keep everything afloat. To be called a manipulator or gaslighter when all I've done is try to fix things, learn, and grow is deeply unfair. This entire situation has broken my heart. This statement was not something I ever wanted to write, but after being repeatedly asked to say something, and after having the personal pain used for public drama, I felt exploited, I felt I had no choice. I hope this is the only time I have to speak on this. Moving forward, I'll no longer be handling direct negotiations for my brand. I've learned that my emotional communication style makes me vulnerable to being misunderstood or misrepresented, and I don't want to affect others, which is definitely a better, you know, way to go about it. Just let your management deal with it. I think that is the best way. Now, let's say, I hope people will take a moment to hear the full context, not just the most viral part of the story. Thank you for those who have shown patience, understanding, and support. Apologies for the break this week. I'm tired, and all I want to do is spend time with my closest and my only family right now, as my dog had just got home from surgery. So I'm still learning, I'm still healing, and I'm still trying to do better every day. So again, that provides a bit of clarity behind some of the videos. I don't think the actual people that were involved with the whole PC thing were mad. I think this is the case of people trying to criticize it from the outside without knowing what is going on, which is just dumb. You know, if you don't actually know what's going on in the actual situation itself, I don't think it's worth making a video, making posts about this, because you don't know what is going on behind the scenes, and it's up to Dokibird and the person who's getting the PC to, you know, speak out against it if something is going on, and neither of them did. You know, it's not like this PC guy, the guy that wanted the guy that, you know, got the PC from the charity auction, was there like, oh, you know, I never got it or something like this, and spreading false information. No, it was all sorted, and even Dokibird shows off the fact that she paid them a lot of money to go and build it themselves after, you know, 2 attempts, you know, obviously getting scammed by the first guy, and also getting her parts cancelled or whatever to make one for herself. Again, you know, that's 2 attempts failed, so they just went ahead, settled on payment, and, you know, it seems to be very well accepted. But some people on the outside want to try and spin this into something completely different and try to accuse her of doing some horrible things, which just isn't true at all. And after everything that Doki has been through and all of the stuff that's been going on, it's just kind of like, seriously, do we really need to be doing this? Like, you know, she's had so much support recently and, you know, things have gotten so much better, but it just sucks that some people are trying to kind of misconstrue a lot of these situations. And, you know, people in the comments here saying, I'm so sorry you need to even address this. I can't imagine how you must be feeling at the moment. People tend to forget how stressful it is to deal with these cases. I feel your words and it hurt in a deep place in my heart, which again is pretty crazy. And it seems like, you know, a lot of people are supporting Dokibird here, which is the right thing because, again, you know, this is a situation which has been totally, you know, blown up, out of proportion, whatever. And it's just like, brother, like, why is this even a thing, you know? It's good that Dokibird has spoken up about this, and I hope that people have heard her side of the story and just kind of move on with everything because, yeah, it's very obvious. There was just a huge misunderstanding and people have been falsely attacking her for no reason. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code KAZA, get 10% off. Again, pretty crazy situation overall, but hopefully we won't see anything else come from this. Again, I'll keep you guys up to date if there is anything though. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.